welcome to Sports in 60 Minutes on Arrival Studio. It's a new month, so we've got new outfits looking through. We've also got a new setting, and the guys will be smiling when we introduce all the conversations for Team Nigeria. Our fingers still crossed before the end of the Olympic Games. Maybe a medal will come from somewhere. We've got updates from the Nigerian football scene, and the Premier League begins very soon as the curtain raiser is lined out for this weekend. We'll look through all those big stories and a little more. I'm Femi Farawe. I'm excited to have you join us today. I've got the guys with me. There's Francisca Nwobodo right here. Francisca, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good to be back again.
Okay. There's also Princewill Oviesan. He's here as well. Princewill, how are you doing today?
Kicking, ready to go.
You know, I just noticed that all three of us have got something to do with red. Either in our outfit or even the chair we're sitting on. There's something. I don't know if it was planned, but...
It wasn't planned.
It wasn't. Sheer coincidence.
Really?
Yeah. I came in first, so with my dress.
Wow, Francisca, I like how you've done this.
I saw Femi Farawe, what's going on? I was actually thinking he wasn't going to wear it. Perhaps he just came into the studio with the clothes and, you know, going to change later on.
Then,
and
suddenly...
I saw Princewill.
His own is even worse. He never came with...
What's going on? Anyways, it is not the month of love, but we just decided to share that love atmosphere. So perhaps that's the reason why we're putting on red.
All right, so hopefully it will bring good things for us in the month of August. We've got all the updates from the Olympic Games. But first, we'll talk about Nigerian football right after this break. Okay, welcome back to the show. You're still on to Sports in 60 Minutes, brought to you right here on iRival Studios. Femi, Princewill, and Francisca, we're going through all the big stories. Now, one of the biggest stories this week, guys, if you've got to get your thoughts on it, is Emmanuel Amunike, former Nigerian international, former coach of the Tanzania national team, the under-17 team. He's been around the block, and he will be tinkering Heartland Football Club for next season. Princewill, I'm going to start off your thoughts with this one first. It's almost clear, signed, still delivered. It's not been placed by the IMC, but we all know Heartland will be in the Npfl for next year.
Obviously, it's a good one. It's a welcoming environment to see somebody who are giving his very best when it comes to coaching from the cadre, the under-17 cadre, to an international level. And don't forget that there was this quagmire about him being touted as the Super Eagles coach that it didn't work out. A lot of people want to see what he's going to bring to bear, being the domestic coach with Heartland FC. And I think I'm looking forward to see what Heartland FC will do this season. You know,
I'm a bit confused when Princewill talks about all those great things. I remember clearly, Coach Julius Berger back in the day, Coach Ocean Boys back in the day, wasn't very successful. So I know he's grown, his coach likes of Osimhen and all, but the Npfl is different. And I don't know, why is everyone celebrating like he's already the Messiah, the Pep Guardiola of the Npfl next season?
You look too serious, Femi Farawe, with the question you're asking me. But then I think we need to allow our viewers to know that when we go on break, there's some certain level of discussion that we have. And I'm like, what's going on? Is it sports we are talking about?
Anyways, it's sports.
Away from that, back to your back to your question. And when I saw that news, you said everyone feels excited, perhaps because of the fact that they felt, just like Princewill mentioned, that they were thinking he was going to be the Super Eagles coach, but nothing happened. And now Heartland of Owerri, and everybody's like, wow, good one. At least you can now prove your mettle, what you're made of, You understand? But my worry is this: it is one thing to be employed. It is another thing for you to be given that maximum support while you are being employed. And I don't really know if Heartland of Owerri are really ready to give Amunike that maximum support that he needs. We saw what happened with Heartland, with Enugu Rangers, that's Fidelis Electrical. It was because of the fact that he was giving maximum support from the Enugu state government and, you know, the people in charge and hands of affair of Enugu Rangers. Heartland of Owerri, are they ready to do the same thing with Amunike? Because remember, Nigerians' job, Npfl coaches, or, you know, the Npfl, the job, it's all about hiring and firing. And I just hope it's not a case of after 3 or 4 matches and you are not saying the results and you begin to ask.
I don't think this will be the same.
I can give this for free.
We will sit down here and we'll see that.
No, I can give this for free, like I've just said.
You said that like 3 times, so
yes.
I'm hoping that this free stuff you're going to give us would.
Okay.
It's assertive.
Yeah.
It's assertive. Francisca does raise the very fundamental issues. In our own client here, you see coaches who want to do their very best, but there's this impediment of finance. And the governor's office have assured him that they're going to work with him one-on-one. So whatever he needs to excel with Heartland FC, he's directly working with the governor's office. And that's
isn't this the same governor and the same team that owed Fidelity Lechuku back in the day?
Different scenario.
What's changed?
They didn't expect that they would be relegated, even if we saw it from game 14. I keep saying this team is going down. Is one big pride for the Abians to have a team right there in the Npfl, and they feel they need to give it all the necessary support. Haven't gotten this slot through the back door. I don't think they want to let it slip.
And that back door you're talking about is the fact that they bought the slot from beyond limits. Now, it's reported that the figure, now this is not official, but it's reported that the sum is 350 million naira. That's what they used to get the club. Now, for me, speaking as my thought, there has to be some form of target. If you spend 350 million naira of Imo's money, Imo State's money, because the government is a state-owned, Imo, it's a state-owned club.
It's Imo.
Imo, right? Heartland, it's a state-owned club. There must be some target. And then obviously, there was no discussion of how long this contract would be. We're assuming a year or 2 years. We're assuming, right? There has to be some form of target. The near future, the long-term future. And one of those targets must be competing and challenging for titles. Qualifying for the CAF Champions League.
Obviously. I think before Francisca comes in, she has a reason why she's laughing, because we have an inner source right in there.
I have someone who gives me updates, who gives us updates of what is happening in Heartland of Owerri. So, in fact, let's not say
Francisca,
this.
Go ahead. Look, if I keep doing,
I don't want a situation whereby they say it is in iRavel studio that we discuss this.
It doesn't matter. Is it a statement of facts?
You were going to say something?
Yes. No, you were. Yeah, no, they let the floor for you.
No, Francisca, let us allow Princewill.
Want to hear what you have to
What is it with you and Princewill?
Let's hear from you. Let's hear from
you. Want to hear from the horse's mouth?
Let's hear from you.
You have an inside source, so let's hear what the inside source has.
We both have the inside source.
Maybe perhaps when the inside source fits me, tells me to go ahead to say what he has said to me, then I'll come and share with you people.
Are they going to buy players, top players to compete?
I don't know.
Are they going to pay salaries?
I don't know. You just mentioned the fact that Fidelity Lechuku was old, and that was one of the reasons why he actually even left, because they weren't ready to support him. He's not the first person. We've got lots of coaches.
They have
the same thing. You understand? You can't run football. So you just mentioned it. You bought something. You bought a slot for 350 million naira. We know there've been crisis in Imo State with the up and downs and everything in terms of governance. And now here, I just worry. I worry for Amunike, honestly. I worry for him, and I just hope that his job is going to, last, not last forever.
I don't think it will last, because his predecessor, Christian Opara, despite Kenny Diboboye doing things different, Opara still was there and finished the season. Now, what I know is Amunike has got that expertise. He's coached club on the continent, in Egypt, in Tanzania. He's handled the Tanzania national team, qualified them for the Nations Cup in 2019, if I'm correct, for the first time in over 30 years. So practically he's been there, done that. He's also worked a lot of youth football. The under-17 for Nigeria, went to the FIFA World Cup and won that one with the Victor Osimhen squad. What's his name? Samuel Chukwueze was part of that team. We also know Victor Boniface also auditioned for that team. Unfortunately, he didn't make the cut. So he's worked with youth football and assisted Austin Eguavon during the 2022 World Cup qualifying phase. Unfortunately for Team Nigeria, we failed, but that experience has to count for something. So I'm going to be open here and say I wish him the best of luck. I love the rivalry which will bring between him and Finidi George.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for next season in the Npfl.
You were going to say something, Princewill?
Yes. You cannot spend 350 million naira and just go to sleep. They have their targets. They know what they want. And believe me, with what I know and the source that gave me that information, if the governor's office gives you that support, it means there is a serious backing
You know what? I'm not going to even go for that because you guys keep telling me source. What did the source say?
The
The
source says every time Amunike needs whatever he wants to make Heartland succeed, walk straight to the governor's office.
Okay, all right. One club we know that cannot walk into the governor's office ahead of next season starts, which is already a few days away, is the CAF Champions League teams in Nigeria. We've got two of them to be precise. There is the Champions Rangers from last season and Remo Stars. Now, there's been all the stories around Rangers' new stadium. Francisca, you lived in Enugu before, right?
I never lived in Enugu.
Oh my goodness, you've not stayed there?
I come from Enugu. It's not as if I live in Enugu. I live in Lagos.
You're born in Lagos.
I'm born in Lagos.
We've gone to Enugu a few times.
Yes, of course.
Good. So I've gone to Enugu a few times, right, to see the
You said you lived in Enugu.
No, he visited Enugu.
No, that wasn't what he said. He said he lived in Enugu. Is that not what you said?
One week is not living. You don't live in 1 week.
So why did you not ask me you lived in Enugu?
I just thought I was going to scratch something.
Anyways, that's on the license.
You saw the new you've seen the new cathedral. Now, before was the old cathedral. There's the new cathedral right now. Before we get into the conversation of the draws, first we gathered CAF said Rangers cannot play there. They have to go and play at the Nest of Champions. More problems for them for next season.
That's what it is. More problems for them. And, when it comes to, home, you're playing where you are comfortable with. It gives you that more moral, more boast and everything. And now you are going to the Nest of King. And I begin to ask myself, what happened when you know that of course, you saw you saw your success story, and you know that give or take, I am going to play in the CAF Champions League. Why haven't you started preparing? Why have you not started preparing? And now CAF has come out to say that, no, you cannot play there because it's not qualified for you to play. The stadium is not qualified for you, or the stadium is not qualified for you to play there. And now this is a big worry for you. And I also was listening to Fidelis Electrical on a podcast a few days ago, and it's looking like the players are not even really ready to stay in Enugu Rangers, although there are no sources out yet. But does he really have the hands who have helped him to win the Nigerian Professional Football League, to carry on in the CAF Champions League? But let's keep our fingers crossed to see what will happen. But I wish them all the best.
Francisca, all you've just done today in Nigerian football stories is I just hope that this mood you are in like this, you'll get to the end of the story, because I know that it will change. I know it will change in front. Princewill, what's your hopes? Because we played this weekend, both of our teams, and it's a very tall order for Nigerian club sides. You think Remo Stars or Rangers can perform some magic in the CAF Champions League this season?
Well, probably if you don't know, I have to tell you this for nothing. Rangers International is
been giving us so many things for free today.
Yes. My number one club when it comes to the domestic scene.
Oh, really?
Yes, I've been very strong.
I never knew. Oh, yes, that's
come
true.
off it. You know.
That's true.
For almost 30 years, I've been a staunch supporter of Rangers International. And somebody was telling me, is it because of me played for Rangers? No. When I was in secondary school,
you've always followed.
Just been there. But that as it may, I've always held my negative thoughts when it comes to the continental football with our clubs. I've always held my view. We don't prepare too well. And the psychological part of it when you meet some of these top teams from the North Africa or the South Africa has always been there. In the last couple of years, after Enyimba, we've not done too well. It's either we drop out from the preliminary stage.
No, we've been in the semi-final of the Champions League, but haven't gone beyond the semi-final since
We've not done too well, because if you look at the teams that have been there, these are teams that you check their pedigree, they will tell you we'll get to this particular level. Excuse me. For Remo Stars, the consistency is there, but have they done well in the continent? No. For Enugu Rangers, they've been there in and out. So it's going to be like you're starting all afresh. My big worry is, do we have to keep starting all afresh? That's the big question.
And that's why till tomorrow, Enyimba International will keep, we are still living with that, or they are still living with that glory to say, there's no club that is going to do it. We have done it. We did it back to back. And it's not even coming soon that any club in Nigeria is going to do what we have done.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely.
So I think it's high time the clubs in Nigeria, aside from Enyimba International, kudos to them. They did pretty well. That was 2003, 2004, winning the CAF Champions League back to back. But I feel this is long overdue. Please, other clubs from Nigeria should step up.
All right. Okay, so we look forward to the preliminary rounds. It's this weekend. When we return next time, we'll talk about their exploits and what to expect ahead of the second leg. Let's head for a break. When we come out, we've got the Olympics to look through. Team Nigeria, it's been topsy-turvy, but no medals yet to account for the performance. That and more when we return. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back. If you just joined us, we've got lots to unfold concerning the Olympic Games. Now, the Games have been on. We're a few days before the end of the event. It closes at the weekend, the 11th of August to be precise. Nigeria is yet to register a medal so far. Now, that's not because Nigeria has not tried. There's been quite a lot of events where Nigeria has impressed. Princewill, let's get your thoughts on this one. I would have gone for Francisca first with this, but I know she's just going to butter it up very well for me. So let's start out with you. Nigeria's flag bearer at this event, Tobi Amusa, her hits today. She came out victorious, won that one. That sets a marker down for our competitors.
I think that might just be the consolation we're waiting for, because with the performances of the other athletes, they've done their best. The motto of the Olympic is come, participate, enjoy the scenario. Why are you laughing? That's just a simple fact.
That's what Team Nigeria, not for any other person.
For everybody.
But people are there winning gold, bronze medal. People are capping medals.
You definitely
Ours is just go there, tour and.
No, that's not true. Because look, the Olympics, we have what? We have over 1,000. What am I saying? Over 1,500 athletes, right? And from 1,500 athletes, from the medal table, I am sure that we don't have up to 1,000 medals. In fact, I stand to be corrected, right?
Okay.
So it means that at least a large percentage of athletes will not win medals at this event.
But are you aware that Nigeria has one of the highest athletes contingent
no.
ahead of ahead in Africa, not
Africa, we're the giants of Africa now.
And you are the giants.
Yes, we're the giants of Africa.
And you are yet to win any medal for yourself.
This girl right there, Tobi Amusa, she finished first in her hurdles. Tobi is the world record holder. No one can deny the fact. Are you saying here that you don't think she's one of our brightest medal hopes?
I never said so.
Before Francisca comes in, I have this very high optimism with Tobi, with Ese Brume, and most likely from the weightlifting that has just started today. Fine, we've not done too well, but that we won't pick a medal is a lie. Even if it is bronze, we'll pick one.
You disagree?
The way things are going, I really don't understand, because my hope was going to be on Blessing Oborododo, and she lost. Also, Favor Ophili, she lost. Losing to medal opportunity in the night for me was so disappointing. So for what's her name, Ese Brume, for me, I feel this is going to be a huge responsibility on her, because a whole lot of people are saying, "Oh, please, can you just help us? We've not won anything." Well, which
is she helping us, or is she helping herself?
We have 3 athletes in that long jump. You mentioned
she's helping everybody.
You mentioned Favor Ophili, and I'm just going to jump on that one because my producers also mentioned that story in the final she ran yesterday. 6th in the 200-meter finals, a poorer time compared to what she did in the semi-finals. Were you hoping, or were you expecting a medal from her?
Well, I just feel I wasn't expecting.
But you mentioned her name right now, because you mentioned her name.
Yes, I did. But I felt, for me, for the fact that she had all of those stories surrounding, missing out in the 100 meters without her being informed. Perhaps there could have been a situation, or there is a reason for it. Reason why she went. She went for the 200 meters, and look at the calibers of people she competed with. Thomas, Alfred, the lady from St. Lucia, and the other lady who also came in third. Exactly, you can see the names. These are people who were ready.
No, but these athletes,
they were ready.
No, but these athletes you mentioned. Ready. No, but these athletes you mentioned is the 200, and there are 2 schools of thought. I think what was done to Favor Ophili was wrong. Right? You already explained that. I just wanted to put that out. But then, from the positive, 200 has been a strength. And favorably, quite a number of those heavyweights were not there.
Well,
let me mention, Thompson Hera wasn't there. Right? Ellen Thompson Hera wasn't there. She's been the fastest woman this year in the 200 meters.
That's for 200 meters. Okay.
There was no Shelley Fraser-Price. She pulled out. Sha'Carri Richardson pulled out from the event. Right? Who else? There was Sherika Jackson. Also pulled out from the 200-meter event. So that means 4 athletes who naturally will be in and around that podium position already out, it automatically made the path a bit more easy for her.
Where you have Thomas, the lady from the United States of America, who eventually won.
Now, so for
Did you see
for
her?
Gabrielle Thomas, while I agree with you that she was good, we did not know Alfred until the 100 meters final.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree.
Right? Brittany Brown, while her numbers this year have been good, she was not tipped to be a medal. At the start of this tournament, Alfred and Brown were not tipped to win medals. So the fact that those names have pulled out opened the path for anyone come and grab it. I'm saying that Ophelia choked on the big stage. She has complained a lot about what they've done to her, and that is wrong, which is what I started with. But you ran you ran so quick, 20:04 or 20:05 in the heat and the semi-finals. But when it got to the final, you couldn't even match that time, so you couldn't repeat your feat. You choked. It meant that you spent so much time protesting and complaining about what was wrong.
Exactly.
That you did not spend time focusing on the event itself you had to prepare for. And then afterwards, she was emotional about it. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's her way of expressing. But look, Nigerians didn't expect you to win a medal. So you didn't promise Nigeria anything. You have gone on a campaign to socially put yourself
out there.
Exactly,
which was what I said that last time, that she shouldn't have done that. But maybe that's, everybody reacts the way and manner in which they can react. And she feels, this is how I should be able to tell people out there, this is what happened to me.
Has anything changed? Has anyone been sacked?
No.
That's the country we find ourselves.
No.
Maybe we are waiting. We are waiting for the sport minister. He's come out to say that someone needs to explain that. But I'm surprised that people still have their jobs. I'm surprised that people still have their jobs.
There will be a report. They will send it to the minister's office. But you and I will not see that report. And we'll keep it moving from here. I totally think what they did to her was wrong.
That's what.
Even though I think from a technical point of view, it could be explained that her strength was the 200 meters, and the AFN felt the relay team.
I don't think the AFN was involved in this. I feel it is because it was between the NOC and the IOC. Because the AFN
said the IOC has nothing to do with this.
It has nothing to do with this.
But AFN said we submitted her name.
Because they submit your name doesn't mean you cannot do that.
So there could be, it could be between maybe.
What Athletics?
I don't think that AFN is part of this.
So I know that the BBC did some research and reached out to World Athletics, and World Athletics said they had nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
That is the name they gave them. So it's between AFN
and NOC.
Somebody sent a list and removed her from there. Now it could also be from an athletics point that they realized that look, our major aim is the relays.
Exactly.
Because these names I mentioned to you will not also be in the relays. So no Sherika Jackson, no Shelly Fraser-Price, no Sha'Carri Richardson for the USA. That gives us an open opportunity to also fight for a medal. I know the British have tried. They've been in and around, just outside of the medals, right? But this is our opportunity. And I guess maybe, like you said, communication. Maybe they had said something to her. It had made a lot of sense. But you know what? That said, you mentioned Blessing Obodo-Dudu. You saw her bout. She fought well. All the way to the semi-final, beat the world number 3. Unfortunately, in that third place game, she just went
within 15 minutes. It was over.
Can I be honest with you?
I think you've been so far.
I sat stunned in front of my television.
I haven't been, right?
Unperturbed. And what I saw was, for somebody who got the silver medal in the last Olympic, technically she was deficient in that fight against the Japanese.
Does age play a factor? Because she was a lot older.
Yes. Because you know what that Japanese girl did to her? When she pinned her down and got that 2 point, the girl technically started holding back. And when you do that, for 2 minutes, is 1 point against you because Obodo-Dudu was defending. And that happened. 3 points. And that's how she got that bout.
And I also feel that you mentioned age, yes, age factor. And even after the first fight she did, I think she had injury because she complained. You can even see from the video that she has got injury. My worry is this: why do we keep hoping on a particular athlete? Perhaps if we've had maybe another person.
It's our culture.
No, but the resources to also prepare an athlete is a lot. And I'm saying this because if we decide to, we always do this every Olympics. We go for the games, we don't perform well, we not come back and say comparative advantage. Now, if we decide to say comparative advantage, not a lot of sports will make that cut because currently we've gone for swimming, cycling, badminton, those events,
tennis.
Those events we will not medal. Our strongest points have always been track and field, weightlifting, boxing, and football. But then football is 18 players.
Do you know somewhere again that I think we could actually pull our strength? The long distance.
Long distance.
I take the time to watch the 1,500 meters, the 3,000 meters, the 5,000 meters. The set of women and men who run those races, we can produce them here.
But we don't even win our own marathon now.
Because
we organize a big international marathon.
We're not ready to win.
Let's just talk about what we've seen so far. Disappointment for the men, because my producers had just pointed out once again that in time past, we always had a Nigerian athlete, male, making it all the way maybe to the semi-final or the final of the 100 meters. This year, the men haven't turned up on the track and field. Does that send some form of worry to you guys? Is it a concern about Nigeria's male performance?
Maybe the guy and the man should take it.
No, for real. You just hit it on the head. In the time in past, when you talk about the 100 meter, anywhere, there must be a Nigerian. That presence is always there. But for the last 3 years, after I watched the last trial at Yabatech, I just knew something was wrong. We've not actually given back. We've not taken the pain to groom people who are supposed to take over from those who shone brilliantly. And I want to put the blame right on the doorsteps of AFN. Because if you put up programs that will search for young ones who could begin to build up that momentum, and gradually you give them scholarship out, we won't be in this particular mess we are right now.
Okay, before we leave this Olympic stories, because there's a lot to look forward, Francisca, let's just look at Nigeria's overall performance and let's project going forward. What do we need to do to not come back in another 4 years and say this? Because I feel that if we don't get things right, in 4 years' time, we'll come back here, three of us, sit down and talk about it. What do we need to do to get things right?
Femi, we've said this over and over and over again.
Based on our resources, because what the producers didn't mention.
We said this 4 years ago.
3 years ago, actually.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
We said this 6 or 7 years ago, because we keep hammering. You've been a sport journalist for how many years? Over a decade.
Yes.
You've been a journalist for like 2-3 decades. Perhaps a decade or thereabout. And I can tell you that, and for some other journalists too, I can tell you that journalists have said this consistently over and over again. We are not ready. Until we are ready, and when I'm talking about being ready, immediately after this Olympics, let's come back to the table. What happened? How did we get it wrong? How can we go back? Let's do a feasibility study. Let us do a feedback. Let's get a feedback for ourselves.
What did you do to
Because I really don't understand that. Because the truth is, in another 4 years or 3 years, yourself and I, may God spare our lives. We'll still sit here. We'll still have the same discussion.
You know, I'm smiling.
I think the government are really not ready to take responsibility.
That came back from the Tokyo Olympics. The blueprint were there. Did you actually go through them and find out what was wrong? We went back to the same scenario. And that's why we find ourselves 10, 12 days into the Olympics, we're still struggling to pick medals. It's a shame. And a colossal shame.
And do you know what I also feel? I think we also need to start going back to the school curriculum.
School sports.
School sports. Because yourself and I raced. I did really when I was in primary school.
We have the proof.
Yes.
We have proof.
Do you understand? Yeah. Well, no, I don't know where your own proof is.
I think I agree with you. I agree with you.
You've seen your spoils from war and racing.
I really don't understand what these two gentlemen are talking about here.
You want us to share with people about your running days. You know, there's a story, there's a song that you can only run.
I'm totally not aware of what these two gentlemen are talking about. But all I'm saying is this:
it's all right.
That we need to go back to our school sport days. I remember those days. There is time for inter-house sport. How many did we get to hear? How many do we get to see? It is quite unfortunate. We should make it mandatory as part of the school curriculum now as we speak. Unless we do that, we'll continue after 4 years. Some group of people will still come together and say, oh, we have qualified for Olympics. Can we send out 87 or more than 100 athletes to go and compete, and nothing to show for it? For me, I feel so disappointed. It's a shambolic performance, if you ask me that. As at today, day how many? Maybe day 11, day 10 or thereabout. We cannot say
no, the medal is coming.
it's coming home.
Francisca, I think you're being
Let's
a bit
be
too. I think you're being a bit too harsh. Now, beyond all the
not to the athletes, remember, to the people in charge, not to the athletes, because now, see, you cannot, Femi, you cannot blame the athletes, because what level of preparation do they give to them? You and I know it is a fire brigade approach that we do at every point in time.
But Francisca,
at every point in time, fire brigade approach.
No, but Francisca,
we just gather them together and say, "Oh, you've qualified. Oh yeah, let's go."
Using your example. If we talk about the basketball story, for example, last Olympics, the minister says, you know what, we don't think it's our normal, we're owing you monies, we don't think we're going to even medal, let's stay away from it.
Exactly.
The athletes went on social media, started protesting, called space, criticized the minister right there, criticized the federation there. So I'm saying that if the federation comes out and says, you know what, we want you to stay away from, because Toby Favour is a clear example. While the federation had made a decision which was wrong, Nigerians have reacted by saying, you want to kill her destiny, you want to spoil her. At the end of the day, she did not win a medal. Now, but you're not still absolving her of any blame. I'm saying that in the individual event, you're absolving her of the blame, you're dropping the blame on the federation. Same for badminton. Same for everything. The badminton federation can only do what they can do. If we do not have the resources, you cannot do pass your power.
It's all about the resources.
All right. So let's just leave it at that, because I'm sure Francisca is not happy about it.
I'm not happy, honestly. I am really not happy.
You're so smart now. The Tigers are coming on.
Well, don't talk about the Tigers. Any reason? I think they've done the best they can do. I totally disagree with people, because talking about this federation. Now, I posted something recently about, look, they've done great. They've done very good. Credit must go to the team, to the coach. However, we cannot deny that there's been some form of contribution by the federation. And immediately people careless screaming, the federation did nothing. And the first question I ask you is that we all have parents. And our parents never gave us 100% of what we wanted. Yeah. But we don't ever go out and say, my parents failed.
Now.
We all say my parents did well. So I'm saying that the federation has done the best they can do. They cannot do past their power. We cannot do which what USA will do. Cannot do which what UK will do.
So whose fault it is then?
It's just nature. We're a third world country. Until you start admitting that we're a third world country and we cannot afford.
And then I feel there's no point going to,
No, you just have to.
You just go there and participate. It doesn't make sense to me.
And compete. And to be fair to the Tigers, they have competed.
Yes, and they've done well.
They've done well. We know that they will not medal. Anyone who thought the Tigers team will medal, for me, that person is living in the fool's paradise. Because the USA have consistent champions. And we're up against the USA.
We're ready. We will. I still have that slight, strong belief.
Slight, right?
You want to just come here and use me and Princewill to do your year. That's why. That's what you want to do.
But I haven't. I started from day one.
No, you did not do it. No, you did not do it here.
No,
I did it here. No.
Leave the WhatsApp thing.
No, leave the WhatsApp thing.
I read it and not smiled off.
You smiled off. But we started here. The very first game we played against, I said, first day, I said I will bank on the Tigers more than Super Falcons, and they did not disappoint. With us, with
Super Falcons didn't disappoint. No? Who's in the final?
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is
they're not supposed to be there.
What I'm saying
they did not disappoint. Why did they not qualify for the
what I'm saying that in the semi-finals, two of the teams in the semi-final were in that group with the Super Falcons. That tells you something, that they're beating teams to make it there far. And then the team everyone thought Nigeria should just beat the world champions 4-2. I'm sorry, if the Super Falcons didn't concede 4 against Spain or Brazil, I'm going to take that one as a win for me.
You're going to take that as a win, yes, but they're back home.
It doesn't matter.
So this is his opinion.
Let's get your opinion about the African teams. We've seen a few African countries perform. South Africa, Uganda on the medals table. Egypt, Ethiopia, Tunisia, Africa, right on the medals table. But one of the most controversial story of these Olympic Games, and it has dominated headlines, is the Imane Khalif story, the boxer from Algeria. There's been questions around her gender. Now, the truth is, she's got high level of testosterone, which is a statement of facts. People have gone on to say she's transgender, which is false, right? And there's been back and forth story between the International Boxing Association and the IOC. IOC saying, based on eligibility and based on what the rules states, she's cleared to participate. But last year, the World Championship, she did not, because they said her levels were a bit higher. Some, tests were done, even though that's still very controversial at this point. Now, she's in the final, means she'll medal. She's guaranteed a shade, gold or silver.
Yeah.
But that has dominated headlines all through this Olympics. What's your thoughts about it generally?
I think it's very unfair. It's very unfair. I'm going to be a little bit sentimental here. When it comes to the African continent, so many things are thrown at us. We saw what happened to Caster Semenya. Fortunately, I still have a chat with her from time to time. That stigmatization made that young lady to just pull out from athletics.
They're pretty popular, you know.
Well, let's leave that.
I get to know more people. I have to go and start meeting more people. Yeah, Francisca, you are meeting people.
but both of you are not in this one. How come you had to get?
You guys have sources.
But back to the scenario, right? It's very unfair. I think it's an African thing. Once Africa is on the spotlight, all negativity comes to play. I don't think it's fair to her because she was cleared. And since she was cleared, she's good to go.
You agree?
I agree because I don't think if it has been an American or a British person or any other person who is not in the third world, who is not from the third world country, I don't think this shade would have been thrown at the person. So I feel it is because we Africans we have decided to always put ourselves. We've decided to cage ourselves in that scenario, and that's why any little things they come at us and they say anything at us. And for me, it really does not make sense. Just like he also said, this can be a discouragement to her, and she'll say, "Oh, you know what? I'm no longer interested."
Well, just to wrap up and put a zip on this story, what she did say that sort of touched me was, she felt it has been a media circus. And then she spoke about training in Italy, knowing the first boxer she beat, and they trained and they sparred a lot of times. She, however, did mention about mental health and bullying. And it's always easy when it's you to bully until the story turns around, how she feels, how athletes feel, and that she'll continue to strive. We do know that some rules need to be set in terms of understanding the modern world we're in. And I'm hoping that the IOC and the IBA, or whichever body they decide to work with, get to resolve all of this moving forward. But then congratulations to her. She's in the final. She's guaranteed a shade of a medal. Let's head for another break one more time. And this time when we return, it goes down as European football leagues resume. We already see the minor leagues, but the big ones are coming through with a club that comes very close to Francisca's heart in action for the new season. We'll talk about all this and more when we come back. Stay with us. All right, let's head now to international football stories. Pre-season games have come and gone. We're counting down to the start of the European football season. And one of the biggest leagues in the world is the Premier League. This weekend, the Premier League will get the curtain raiser. Francisca, you've got a soft spot for Manchester United. This weekend, they take on Manchester City, champions of the Premier League against champions of the FA Cup. It wasn't like last season where one champion played somebody else that wasn't a champion. And then the other person that wasn't a champion won and they said they're a champion. So it didn't make any sense. But you know what? Let's talk about this year. Both of these teams, how exciting will this game be and how ready are they for the new season?
Very exciting it's going to be, especially for both clubs. They've signed in one or two players, and I've got flair for Manchester United, but then I think I've got more flair for Pep Guardiola. Yes.
I want to be confused. I want to be like,
Guardiola.
How do you have flair for both of them?
No, I can't. No, I have flair for Manchester United, but I've got flair for Pep Guardiola. Perhaps you know the story, the background, Barcelona, and all of that. So ever since then, anywhere he's gone or he goes, I follow him. Just like Lionel Messi, anywhere he goes, I try to follow. I follow. So that's what it is. But I don't know how this is going to look like, but I know that give or take, Pep Guardiola will not disappoint. I'm sorry, Manchester United, but this time around, it's all about Pep Guardiola.
Prince, she talks about that game. But for you, for the season, both of these teams, how ready are they? Because I've seen Manchester United bring back Jadon Sancho, right? And Sancho now is holding conversation with PSG about leaving. That's by being reintegrated. There are a few players in and out. Yoro came through. He's picked up an injury. Leaves an open gap once again in defense. Ahead of the new season, Premier League season. And the preseason were not great. Right? Yeah. Are you worried about Manchester City or Manchester United?
I'm more worried about Manchester United than Manchester City. Manchester United has been a shadow of themselves, a club with that strong pedigree.
For over a decade, by the way.
Yes.
For over a decade.
Yes. And going into the new season, they've actually consolidated the team by bringing in some quality players. For Manchester City, they still have the squad, they're still intact, and picking up the Brazilian, what's his name right now? Savinho. Simply shows that Pep knows what he's actually aiming at. He wants to defend the title. He wants to pick it the fourth time. Fifth.
And that's his seventh time. That'll be 7 times since he took charge, because he's won 6 titles already. 4 in the last 4 years.
There will be a stop to it.
Well, eventually there was already a stop, because remember, out of he's won 6. Liverpool took one in between somewhere there, to prevent that.
There will be a stop to it this time around. Just to know who's ready.
What do you think?
Arsenal, of course.
Arsenal is ready.
And when you say Arsenal is ready,
when I say Arsenal, I'm smiling. Arsenal is ready.
You know, I couldn't help but notice. I went through my fantasy football league and getting ready for the new season. So, I mean, it's a small mini league. Picked up my phone to look through the players. Haaland is really expensive, right? But I cannot deny the fact that Arsenal defenders are all too expensive. All their starters are over 6 million.
Yeah.
White is 6.5, Saliba is 6 million, Gabriel is 6 million, even Calafiori, who came through, is 6 million. I'm a bit worried. It just seems like though the odds are in favor of Arsenal to win the title this year. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, but if you look at the Arsenal tradition, I'm an Arsenal fan, in and out. You do pretty well at the beginning of the season, then towards the end of the season, begin to filter out. We need an outright striker to consolidate that particular team. That's just all we need right now. Talking about the thing, in good shape.
Okay. How about you? You look at Liverpool, for example. Liverpool are also one of the contenders. Arne Slot, no one knows what he can do. And pre-season, he already beat Arsenal during pre-season.
Yeah.
That should count for something.
For Liverpool, to be honest with you, I followed Liverpool the days of Jurgen Klopp. He did pretty well for Liverpool.
Well, the jury is still out.
Yes, do you understand? I will not totally write them off, but I still feel that the clubs aren't ready to compete for the EPL title.
Why do you say this?
I just feel because they've allowed Pep Guardiola to dominate too much in EPL. They've allowed him to make the EPL become a farmers' league, whereby he's the only one and he's just the only one. And
Pep is inevitable.
Nobody is really is ready to compete.
No,
yes,
Francisca.
Arsenal, you mentioned the players, the amount of money
for my FPL. That's my dream league. Right?
Your dream league. But I can tell you for free. We'll sit down here.
You guys are giving me too many
I
free
can
things
tell
to
you
do.
for free that going into the season, the new season, into the next season, going into this season, Arsenal will not. They will just near.
Let's keep our finger crossed.
But they will
See,
not.
Francisca,
carry.
one thing I think that you do not understand and you are forgetting is when you say they've allowed Pep. I don't think they've allowed Pep.
They've not allowed Pep.
I think that number one, City have a big budget.
Very big budget.
And City has been able to buy players, the players Pep wants.
Quality players.
Now, what Pep is trying to do is use PSR, because PSR is getting close to City. So ultimately they have to sell, and we listed some of the sales. Bazunu, Kopama, Romeo Lavia. Now they've added Julian Alvarez, a player they bought for 14 million. They sold him for 81 million, right? That's a lot of profit to try and balance the book. And it just tells you that Pep is trying to make his team. He sold Julian Alvarez, had already bought in Savinho. They're still in the market for 1 or 2 other additions before the end of the transfer window. Not everyone has got that sort of budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Klopp pushed him all the way and was able to take 1 Premier League off of him.
I disagree that it's because of the budget they have. He made the record in Germany. He did the same thing in Germany.
Bayern Munich also has a very big financial budget.
But at least he made a statement there. He made a statement in Spain as well. He made a statement.
Barcelona at that time had good financial record.
Give it. See, I will be honest with you. Just give it to Pep Guardiola. Wherever he goes, he knows how to get the job done. And I feel that's what he's just doing.
I know we're talking a bit more about the Premier League next week, but 1, 2, 3, 4, if I should ask you right now, because Chelsea's preseason have been terrible.
Terrible.
But top 4 for you at the moment for the new season. Prince, let's start off with you.
Well, give it to Man City.
1.
With what they've done up there. If there's going to be a turnover, it's still Arsenal. Then
2.
I'm looking at Tottenham.
3.
Aston Villa.
4. Wow. Francisca, how about you? Your top 4.
To end the season.
Well,
Or
that's
maybe
what...
between first 10 games.
No, to end the season.
To end the season. Oh my God. Pep, you see, he gave it to Pep first.
No, don't get me right. I said they're still the defending champion until you dethrone them. And that's very possible.
And based on the fact that he thinks they're favourites, so that's his pick, your pick.
City first.
1.
Liverpool.
2. That's surprising.
Arsenal.
3.
Then the twin Newcastle. Tottenham.
Okay. You know what's funny? I'm going to make my predictions because I can't just sit out. And funny enough, Arsenal to win the title this year. I've been an advocate for Pep, and I think Pep plays the best brand of football. But Arsenal have lost back-to-back seasons. They've gone closer.
Twice.
And I think that this year, with all the situations around Manchester City, this is Arsenal's opportunity to take the league. So Arsenal 1, City 2, Liverpool 3, and it's a bit difficult, but I just feel Chelsea will come good. So I'm going to go Chelsea 4. Okay. And it's just my pick anyway. All right. So that said, let's look through some of the transfer stories we've got. Francisca, PSG have signed Portuguese midfielder João Neves. We also gather Renato Sanchez goes the other way to go and try rediscover his career. João Neves, promising footballer. Again, another player in midfield that already has the likes of Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, Ugarte. PSG signing?
Well, we would say the right signing, but my worry for PSG is they gather all these players, and at the end of the day, you cannot even compete for Champions League. Perhaps because of the fact that Kylian Mbappe had left. Maybe this could just be an opportunity for them to compete better, but it's not looking like they were going to come close in the Champions League. Yeah, give it to them. The French Ligue 1 title. Yes, give it to them, but I'm worried. Don't just be
local champion.
Local champion. Come out and compete. But for me, I think this is a good signing.
One club that certainly has that sort of local vibe, but they've been trying to break out of the top 3, right, or top 2, beg your pardon, Real Madrid and Barcelona. It's Atletico Madrid. Confirmed the signing of Julian Alvarez, 95 million euros for Manchester City. Yeah. Looks as though they're cooking once again.
Beautiful sign-up, if you ask me. What Simone is trying to do is to put Atletico Madrid in that front border when it comes to the Spanish football. Hasn't been able to do that now with the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona. He's
had his moment. He's won the title. He's played the Champions League final, won the Europa League. So he's been in and around there.
He's been there, around there. But, when you talk about the big club in Spain, Real Madrid, Barcelona comes to mind. Yeah. He's still struggling to really get that grip. With a player like Alvarez, I think he's trying to tell the rest team that we can take you on. We've been taking you on, but this time around we need goals.
What do you think for Alvarez? Is it a step down for him? Because now his complaint was he's not getting enough game time, isn't first choice. But Atletico Madrid will not win you the sort of trophy City will win you. So is it a step down for him in his career, or is it an opportunity for him to build something new by himself, not walk in the shadows of Erling Haaland?
Every player has its goal. For Alvarez, I think it's a step up. Because more playing time. It also gives him the opportunity to really get focused. So I think it's an up part of his game.
But for me, I would rather want to win title because it's part of the game. Title is actually part of the game, and it also keeps the record going. At least he can beat his chest to say that.
Title. Are you part of the team that win the title?
Well, he played 40 games last year, so that means
quite a good one.
It means he's part of the team that won the title, but that's the EPL title.
But most players want to get enough playing time. That's where the question is.
I agree. He will definitely get, because I know Diego Simone is one coach who has really done well with players. He knows how to put these players together, and he gets the best out of them. But I, for one, if I'm to be a professional footballer, I think I'd rather.
I thought you were.
I think I'd rather win a medal or a title and just put it.
Conor Gallagher, Chelsea to Atletico Madrid, signed, seal, delivered.
Good
one for you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's not dwell so much on it. Nico Williams, right? He said no to Barcelona. Will be staying in Athletic Bilbao. Is it as a result of Barca not having money, or because the player decided not to go? Which one was it?
I think it's the choice of the player. It's the choice of the player. At times I'm coming.
Okay.
At times, players. Based on management advice, will want to take some time out to reassess their potential and move at the right time. This might sound as the right time for some people, but is the player ready to move? That's a big question.
I guess he's ready because we talked about the combination between himself and Yamel, and it was a very good and solid combination. And he showed interest. I think it's a case of finance this time around, even though some of the fans came out to say, "Oh, we are going to foot the bill, we are going to do everything," but it still did not merit or worth him leaving Athletic Bilbao. But I know that for sure he will definitely come to Barcelona. That I can tell you for free. But maybe he's just trying to take his time to, understand what is going on with him.
I don't know how my producer snuck this in, and I was just a bit shocked. And I don't know if you guys can explain, because even the way the story started, Wonder Kid, Chido Obi Martin, signs for Manchester United. And I'm like, okay, is this guy a superstar? I know he left Arsenal on the free transfer to go here, so right there he is. There's a lot of promise around this young man. There's a lot of expectation around him, but I don't know who's going to take this one. I don't know, because I don't want to take this one. I just want to read the story and ask whichever of you is interested in taking this.
I don't really think he's the kind of player Manchester United need right now, because they need a magician.
So that means he's not going to start.
Just to make up
start with. I'm a bit surprised. My producer says this guy is highly rated. To start with, this is the next best thing since sliced bread.
Okay, if you say so.
That's what my producer says.
Which sliced bread?
My producer
Your bread or Manchester United's bread?
Sports in 60 minutes as bread.
If you say so.
But you guys think he's going to blow? He's going to get some game time? Because we've seen young players like Oscar Bob, for example, Man City. In preseason, he has shown already what he can do. So I do think he'll get game time. Okay. I also think this young man will get game time, because City have got Man United have got loads of injury concerns. Højlund is out due to an injury. Anthony is out due to injury. We know more players will pick up injuries, and that sort of attacking threat, you never can tell. Yeah. Just like Maino. Maino got his opportunity last year and took it and run. But you know what? Let's just keep our fingers crossed. Mr. Producer, I hope I've done what I was requested. At least I need to get paid. So I have to do the job I'm asked to do. That's
Wonder Kid.
One last conversation before we leave from the transfer story. Francisca, I throw this one over to you. You're Nigerian true and true. You're passionate. You're patriotic. The latest stories are concerning Nigeria International William Troost Ekong with a move away from Park. Remember, are still in the Champions League qualifying phase, but there's interest coming from the Middle East.
Of course, that's what it is. When you get to your retirement age, you just want to go to Saudi Arabia and settle and earn money while you're settling. So I feel that is what it is. He's seen this happen with Odion Igalo,
Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar. Call the big ones that done it.
So it is what it is. He feels, if this is what it is, please let me go and cash out the way other footballers are cashing out. And let me just, I don't want to play this stressful football anymore. That's not to say that Saudi Arabia, but you cannot compare to
the level of competition.
Exactly. So that's what it is.
It's a good one for him.
Okay.
Just go. It's money.
All right. Let's see how long he stays as captain of the Nigerian national team. At the moment, we don't still have a coach. They've been going back and forth about who. We gathered Eric Chelle has been mentioned at some point for the Super Eagles. We also do know at some point Hervé Renard has been mentioned for the Super Eagles. But one thing we know for certain, which we cannot deny, is the fact that this guy, when he plays for Nigeria, puts his heart there. Yeah. I do think as well, I was best player at the Africa Cup of Nations. Yes. So that must count for something. We wish him the best of luck. His sacrifice for the national team so many times. Currently plays for PAOK in Greece. Let's say they qualify for the Champions League. We're also fingers crossed as well. We wish him all the best of luck. I want to say a big thank you to you for joining us today. I must say a big thank you to Princewill Oviesan.
It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, it is. Despite all the challenges you face, you've come through in one piece. So I must say a big thank you. Francisca put in on red today, just like the rest of us. We've got a touch of it. She brought fire today. She brought fire today. Francisca, Francisca, next week, are you going to beg you? Not wear red. Because all the other days when you don't wear red, we're gentle.
Tell me the color you wear.
I don't need to say it.
So we all wear the same.
Tell me the color.
I don't need to say it. But I am happy that I pulled van.
Watch next week. Watch next week.
Women,
Watch next week. I must say a big thank you to everyone who joined us. Remember, you can follow us on social media to get the latest content from what we've got to serve. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a message, leave your thoughts, and chime in concerning everything from the exciting world of sports. I'm Femi. Thanks for joining us. Have yourself a great day ahead. And remember, stay safe, everyone.